Hello, this is Fatima from Easy Automation Labs, and this is our fifth class of QA course. And in this class, we will be learning step by step our complete process, and we will deep down go to our more detailed conversation and everything that happens in our important meetings. And mainly, we will focus on our interview questions, like what sort of questions they will be asking you in the interviews, and how you will be prepared, how on what you need to learn before the interviews. And the most important part of today's discussion will be our terminologies that we need to memorize and learn, and everything that we have to get in our mind so that we can capture the interview perfectly. So let's start by our first. We all know what is SDLC, right? In our previous classes, we have discussed what is SDLC. Give me a moment. Yeah, SDLC. So as you can see, um, SDLC, which is software development lifecycle, and before our meetings, this is our first formal meeting, right? Pre-refinement session. From here, we start our formal meetings, and then we have. But before that, this is a complete process, which is called SDLC, or everything till now. It's in simultaneously everything happens, like step by step happens everything. And first we have our CRS, then we have our product backlog, and then we have our BRS, and we also the FRD and SRS also created alongside this part. Okay, but now yeah, let's start with our first formal meeting, which is pre-refinement session. Okay, and now in our what happens in our pre-refinement session, we will now learn about these and some of the important terminologies that we need to understand, and we need to make sure that we have memorized all of them. Okay, so let me open my notebook here in this side. And okay, so first we have our pre-refinement session, right? Yeah, pre-refinement session. Give oh sorry What happens in our pre-refinement session we have discussed in our previous classes, but today I will also discuss about it today, but we will learn our terminologies in this part. Okay, so our first terminology of our pre-refinement session is we will what did I mean by terminologies? I mean what we are going to do in this part. So we have to learn that topic in one word. Okay, so before our pre-refinement session, our testers say, as I said, they verify, they do the coding, sorry, they do the testing in their mind, so that is called verification. And once they will be doing the testing in real life or in real form, that will be called static testing. Okay, so first we will be doing our verify or static testing. I mean, we will discuss our static testing and yeah, or verify. Okay, and then we will know that every document till now in this in every document that has been created till now, like every document, is it smart or not smart? Okay, is it smart or not? So every document till now that has been created, is it smart or not? Yeah, so yeah, all docs smart or not? Okay, and then we have our what happens. So be a business analyst creates the BRS, FRD, and SRS as well. So he's going to introduce. He obviously before the pre-refinement session, he discussed his documents with everyone else with the walkthrough meetings that he's going to have. Sorry, like he will gonna be have a lot of uh, walkthrough meetings, right? Yeah. So before that, before this before before our first formal meetings, but in this formal meeting, as everyone will be present in this meeting, so he will first introduce properly his, let me write it down, BA, oh sorry, BA first time introduces the user story with FRG and TRS in, oh my gosh, sorry, BA first time introduces the user story with FRD and TRS in Gherkin format. Okay, and then we have our, yeah, priority and severity. All right, so we have many 2 to 3 or more than 10-15 user stories, and which will be created or which one should be made first, so everyone will be discussed it here. Okay, and suppose we have discussed this in our previous classes, such as um, in first print, which one will be created, like the sign up button or the sign in button. Okay, so that's why we will also discuss that. So let's write it, provide priority and severity. These two terms, priority and severity, these works both for our business client or our customer end user. Okay, and then yeah, so these are the terminologies, or these are the topics that will be covered and discussed in this meeting. And what are the outcomes of our pre-refinement session? I mean, what will we decide after our pre-refinement session, and what are the outcomes that we will work on? Okay, so let's also write it down, outcomes. Okay, so our first outcome will be, and now we have our outcomes. Our first outcome will be, yeah, our first outcome will be user stories. As I have mentioned, user stories will be prioritized, and yeah, they will come out with user story with priority and severity. I mean, which one will be prioritized first, and it will be worked on depending on their priority and severity. I mean, which one is more important for the end user, and which one is more important for the uh, s- uh, the business. All right, so priority is for the end user, and severity will be for the our business or client. All right, so depending on which one will um, go more perfectly, which one, like user story 1, in our user story 1 we have sign in and sign up. All right, so we will decide whether sign up or sign in button will be created first. All right, and then let's write it here: user story with priority and severity. I mean, in this part, we have decided in our first print which one will be, for our first print, which user story will be created depending on their priority and severity. And then we have our user story is verified. All right, verified means everyone have given their opinion on this user story, that this is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect, and we will start working on this user story. Yeah, and then we have covered our pre-refinement session. All right, and then I will come back later on this part. So let's go then. After our first formal meetings, there's a gap between the second formal, which is our refinement session, and in this we have in between the two session before the refinement, we will discuss everything regarding our refinement session and our first sprint and our user stories, and dev will decide how many which tools will he will require, and testers will learn about which how many days it's going to take him. And these are called effort estimation. All right, these are called mainly effort estimation. And then who will do what part, like sprint 1, in sign up button there are others option as sign up button, who will be handling the front part, who will be handling the bottom part of the sign up registration page. So in this session, this part, like who is doing what, who will be doing what. Okay, let me write it down. Before refinement. Okay, before refinement, like who is doing what. In this part mainly they decide their estimation, like their tools, how much time they're going to be needing, which tools they will be using, and like there are a team, like a team of the testers and a team of the complete developers, like which developer will handle the coding, which part of the coding he will handle, or which part of the whole coding that he will handle, or which tester will test this significant part. This part they discuss it in this middle of the time. And how many points, okay, how many points have been created. Okay, so these are the all informal activities before the refinement session. And oh yeah, in this here a lot of walkthrough meetings happened. All right, so first which we will write walkthrough meetings. A lot of meetings will be happen because the developers and testers and also architects, they're gonna be also, you know, they will discuss everything with the business analyst and other members of the company as well. And then we have who is doing what, and then how many points. What did I mean by points? Like our developer will points regarding their upcoming work session or upcoming responsibilities. Depending on that, how many points did he created. It goes for both testers and developers. Okay, and then how many points did he make? Sorry, he needs. And then we have, yeah, find out roadblocks and dependencies. Sorry, finding out roadblocks. Okay, but we still don't know the let me just discuss let me just explain what roadblocks and dependencies are. Let me write it down at first. Don't know the Dependencies. All right. So, what is roadblocks? Roadblocks is the term which is used for, so developers have created this software. So he have created this registration software, only the registration software. He have also listed or updated the URL of the registration page into the environment based URLs. Now what's going to happen, testers will test it out, but when he's going to test it out, he need to check if this part is working well. He need to check it out with emails he's going to be needing. So does tester have the proper email to test it out before, unless the developer give him the data, okay, unless he give him the data or the emails or necessary things that tester is going to be needing in order to test out the part. So this is called roadblocks. In between we will face a lot of roadblocks, but the answer of the roadblocks are called dependencies. I mean, we are obviously dependent on this part. For the email part or the data part, we are dependent on whom? We are dependent on the developers. All right. Yeah, so yeah, so these are the roadblocks, but we won't have the dependence right away in this middle of the time. We will have it later. And then we have our other docs are prepared. Which documents? Test plan, test data, test strategy. Okay. Yeah. What is test plan and test strategy? Other docs are prepared. All right. So let's say till now it is important, or it is necessary to be ready all the documents that have been created by the responsible members of our team. Their job is to submit all the documents before we will be needing those documents in our refinement session. So let's say test plan. Yeah, this is our Confluence, and we will go to our environment. Sorry, not environment. Yeah. As you can see, this is our test strategy. Okay, sorry, this one. Yeah, we have this. So this is a draft document. All right, this is a draft document that won't be created in one day. All right, so say this is you are planning something, so like you are making a journal, say a journal, or you are writing a diary, and or you are preparing for your exam. So you have noted down all the important part of your note or your subject, but you have still not put down all the necessary details or all the necessary information that will be put down in each of the topic. All right, you just like, this is a, say in your study related, this is a topic, but in this test plan document we will first put out our topic names. As you can see, test design date is not here, test execution date is still not here, and also these are also empty. So it's like that we will create a design for this that will be updated all the time. All right, so yeah, this will be updated all the time. Just this document will be draft, and all the time it will be updated, like while the walkthrough meetings, anyone get any update, anyone makes any update, his job will be to go basically, who edits the test plan, the team lead, QA lead or team lead. Basically he does the editing of this part. It is his job to fill out this, like a tester says, hey, you need to fill it out. So he goes and then he fill it out, he'd update the data on here or anywhere that it needs. And then another thing, another thing that we have to discuss in this part, this is test plan document. So this is also a document that needs to be prepared before our refinement session. All right. Okay. And another thing is test data. Okay, what is test data? Everything will be decided in the test data, who will do what, and everything will be given to test out the product for the testers. Like as I mentioned, you have to test out a product, but you need necessary equipment or tools such as emails and other informations as well. So test data, we will get everything from there. And now I hope you remember our who is our Scrum Master and what he does. He's the one who handles Scrum Master, who handles communication between the whole team. Okay. Muni. Like mainly they are working on something. Suppose dev is working on something, but he needed to tell it to the testers, because this is necessary. He says that this is necessary for the testers to know what I'm working on at the moment. So he will go and he will tell the Scrum Master that, hey, please send an email to the tester team, QA team 1 or QA team 2, that I'm currently doing this. So please prepare your test cases according to my plan or according to what I'm doing right now. All right. And say refinement session is done, and in 7 days of time we will have our pre-refinement session is complete, and in our 7 days of time we will have our refinement session. Okay, so he's the one who's gonna be asking, hey, are you ready? Hey, have you done with your preparation? He will ask everyone and he will give them a date. Hey, I have decided that 2 February will be our refinement. Okay, so this is what mainly the Scrum Master do. He handles the communication between all of them. Okay, he's like the messenger. And yeah, this was our before refinement session. And refinement, now let's discuss. Yeah, now we have our refinement session. In our refinement session, refinement, in this meeting we would declare, everyone declares everything, declaration. Okay, like first one, user story, points, why, how, and effort estimation. Okay, so user story points and why and how. Why meaning in this part they have in between the developers and testers have discussed everything regarding how they're going to be working in sprint and how much time they're going to be needing and how many tools they will be needing. All right. So how and why, also questions on why we have to create the sign up button before sign in, or why we have to create the sign in button before the sign up. So, and how we were going to be doing it. If I create this coding in this way, will the testers gonna be able to test it out, or will they gonna face any problems? So all they have questioned in this, or all they have discussed in this part through the walkthrough meetings, they will here declare, okay, based on each user story. Okay, and now we have discuss roadblocks. Discuss, sorry, roadblocks, roadblocks and dependencies, and then we have who is responsible for particular features. Like as I said, they will be discussing who will do what part of the software, and they will just declare like developer dev 1 will create the front button, dev 3 will create the bottom button, and dev 2 will create the side buttons in the registration page or in sign in page. Okay, so they will declare their responsible persons for each features in each user stories. And we have sometimes. This is not necessary that it will happen all the time, but unnecessary user stories get deleted from the backlog in this session. Yeah, they have come through a lot of meetings, a lot of walkthrough meetings, a lot of discussion, and they decided that hey, we all think that if we remove this specific part from our user story, or if we remove this specific point, then it will be beneficial for all of us to get the job done smoothly. Yeah, so sometimes this unnecessary user stories will be deleted from the backlog. All right, the product backlog I mean. And this happened in our refinement session. And then let's say that discuss our roadblocks and dependencies. I have also already discussed this in after pre-refinement session. So the whole team will identify the potential roadblocks and dependencies. Okay, where will tester get emails on other data for testing? So in this part, developers, like as I said, the tester is gonna need emails, so developer will give him the test data. Okay, developers will give him the test data. All right, where he will get the test data? Sorry, in this part he will get the test data. So say here, the following test data will be used for testing effort: dummy customer data and a phone number including names, addresses, driver license, and credit card details. All right, so he will give it here, and the testers will take the information from here and test the features. And now we have our yeah, so in our refinement session, a lot have been decided, and a lot have been discussed, and all the team members gave their opinion on specific features. So say that they needed some update, they came out with some update. So what they gonna do? The team lead or QA lead will immediately go and update the test plan. Okay, this will be happen all the time. It will be happening continuously. This won't stop. Okay, and then our refinement session. After our refinement session, what we just have to do, there's another important thing is in our test plan document, we must memorize. We must have to memorize all the important contents, mainly all the contents. We have to memorize them, like entry criteria, defect management, test execution, and test variables, deliverables, risk and assumptions as well. Okay, so we must have to memorize completely, like we are memorizing, because we have to, these are for the our interview question, because they're going to be asking us in first 20 to 25 minutes. They're going to be asking us a lot of questions, um, uh, depends on this. Okay, so they will be asking us these questions: pre-refinement session and their outcomes, and before refinement, and then before refinement session. So this is important for all of us to memorize all the terminologies, right? And then we have our sprint planning. So this is called after refinement. Let me write it here. After refinement. Okay, so after refinement, we will have our first step will be test plan. Why am I repeating myself in this part, that test plan data will be updated? Because it's important, because it will be updated all the time, mainly after the refinement session. So first one will be test plan update. Then we have our walkthrough. Sorry, yeah, walk through meetings. What we are going to do in these walkthrough meetings, what are we going to discuss? Okay, we will be discuss regarding sprints. Okay, because our immediate next part is, or next step is sprint planning. Okay, sprint planning, and what tools are required, and entry criteria, exit criteria. Okay, what is what is exit criteria? Entry criteria, what is, till now, if all the data, if all the documents, everything have been created, because we are going to make the product, which will be, that is why it is called entry. And as we are moving forward to our development process, so that is why it is called entry criteria. So it needs the necessary documents in order to start the development process. All right. And then exit criteria, what necessary documents, what procedure will be taken in order to fill out all the documents. All right, so that is why this is called exit criteria. And then we have our sprint planning. Yeah, then we have our sprint planning. So we can see that we have a lot of questions here. What are the other names of this meeting? Okay, yeah, I hope you remember another name of this part is called backlog grooming. Okay, and then what is the main goal of this meeting? What is the main goal of this meeting? The main goal of this meeting is to decide which part, which user story will be created first. Okay, first sprint. in first sprint which user story we will be working on. And then we have, suppose you are doing sprint planning regarding user stories, as I just said, which features will go first sprint, which will be on second sprint, and which will be on third sprint. How we decided? It depends on our discussion and priority and severity. All right. Let me write it down. Sprint planning. Our first part will be which story should be covered in which sprint. I mean, either the login button is going to be on third sprint or sprint 2. It will be discussed in this part. I mean, it will be planned and it will be decided as well in this part. And then we have our designer or architect or UX UI designer knows what to make. Okay, so in this part, after refinement, the designer mainly they will know what necessary plan they need to work on in order to make the design document. Okay, then we have we know which feature we need to build first. Alright, so this is in our sprint planning we discuss these parts. Full team prioritize the user stories based on the importance of the functionality. Which story should be covered in earlier sprint and which can be covered in following sprints. All right. Important functionalities have to be built first. Important functionalities such as sign in button, so they goes in early sprint. All right. Before starting a sprint, team across checks the entry criteria to get into the sprint. Okay, entry criteria, the whole team will check, will have a lot of walkthrough meetings regarding this, that they will check whether all the documents, necessary documents such as team confirms if entry criteria is fulfilled or not. So test plan created, test data created, design document ready, FRS ready, all tools are ready, Jira is properly lined up. Okay, and then after sprint, what happens? After sprint session, what happens? This is important, really important. So after sprint, first we will make architect prepares design doc regarding first sprint. All right, so as we are working on our first sprint using the first user story, then architect will design his document regarding the user story. Okay, then these are happening after the sprint, sprint planning after the sprint. Okay, and then features, architect decide which features work. By collaborating with devs. I mean, architects will decide which features, I mean the features they will be making their design document. They will obviously have meetings, walkthrough meetings with the developers. Hey, you're going to be make the coding, you're going to be creating all the important part, but I'm going to be designing this. So of course they need to be they need to be connected with each other in order to make the design document perfectly. All right, and they will have meetings in this part. And for the testers, um update the test plan if required, and then write test cases and test scenarios as much as possible, and then test data dependencies. Okay, so what did I mean by test data dependencies? They will be gathering all the necessary information. So first they are working on one simple user story or one simple that will be created in sprint 1. All right, so for this user story, after the BA give us the user story and the developers, we will also have meetings with them, and then we will decide which can be the possible roadblocks and how we are dependent regarding those roadblocks, how we are dependent on the developers. So dev will give us our necessary test data. All right, so we will have those in our Confluence, as I just said, because QA lead will be updating those all the time. And then we have another thing that we need to ensure that we will collaborate with everyone. We will collaborate with the development team. We are also in the development team as well. The testers are also going to be there, so we will collaborate with them to check out if our testing environment is set up correctly and meets the way they will be code. They will make the codes, they will make the software, if they will meet our testing needs. I mean, if we will be able to test out everything that they're going to be creating. Okay, so we will also have lots of walkthrough meetings with the developers, architects as well, so that we can check, hey, that say an architect creates a design document that is easily understandable or easily workable for the developers, but the testers are having issues with the test document or the dev codes. So that is going to be a problem. So they need to be in collaboration with all of them, so the process is smooth throughout the last part, okay, throughout our production. And then we have to review the definition if everything is completely done, if we are ready to move on to our sprint, if we are ready to our sprint part, and we will review and we will check on those, and we will give our opinion that yes, everything is done, our test document is done, our design document is done, and now if everything in the sprint backlog are testable, and we have to check if it meets the acceptance criteria as well. Alright, so that's how we will be doing. The testers will be collaborating with the other members so that their job gets easily done in the development process. And now we have our, okay, give me a moment. Alright, now we will start our sprint. Sprint start. Alright, so what happens when we start our sprint part? Okay, so sprint start, which is called dev environment, obviously. So this is sprint 1, which will take 2 weeks, and sprint 2, 2 weeks as well, sprint 3, 2 weeks as well. So who's gonna be in the dev environment? We have already received the design document, and we will start our work using the following the design document. And dev, the first task of this part, what is going to be happening in this part? Dev will start coding. Alright, where he's gonna be completing his coding, he will start code in his Angular. Alright, so yeah, before, another thing that I missed out in our dev environment before starting in sprint is that our working environment, all the documents are ready, all the documents are verified, that's fine, and all our tools that will be requiring for our testing are also ready. But there's another thing that have to be ready, which is our working environment where we are going to work. And this is important because for a company, they basically have their own type of software where they create their own things, so outsiders cannot interfere with that part. That is why we must ensure that our working environment, such as our security, our laptop PC, and our private internet access, is also ready. Alright, okay, so let's get back to our dev. Dev will start coding in local PC based on user story. Why local PC? Developers will create the codes following the design document in his personal PC. Okay, we will start the codes in his personal PC, and then, so let's say for our first sprint, dev is working on user story 1, and then dev 1 is working on user story 1, dev 2 is working on user story 2. Okay, so let me write it down here. Okay, dev 1 user story 1, dev 2 user story 2, dev 3 user story 3. Alright, and then, so say, okay, let me give you an example. In our dev environment URLs, so say this is our registration page. Okay, And now this is our registration page. Say so. Okay, so dev 1 creates this one. Dev 1 creates this part. Say he will make the code for this part. Okay, and dev 2 will create the coding for this part, and dev 3 will create the coding for this front part. All right, and now he will immediately, right after completing the coding, what he's going to do, he's going to deploy the code in the development environment. In this part, he will deploy the URL, and the tester will start their testing part.
Yes. Then testers will start their testing as well. And so for the developers, when they write the code in their personal PC, there will be a code review meeting for each user story, okay? And they will be put in a down. So it would be one. So this is say for our story. Well, these are our sprint ones, as I just mentioned, step 1, step 2, step 3. The one, of course, for user story 1, whoever creates user story 1, sign up fields and columns, and the 3 will do user story 2, site counts. So this is the site counts. Then the site count, and then the 3 user story 5, hot menu, and return internal codes and local PC. Both of them. Let me say for one more time how many times we take for the developers to create the coding. 2, 3. 2 weeks for each developer. So simultaneously they will be working. All the developers will have to finish the 3 user stories in sprint 1 in 2 weeks. Okay? And then what he's going to do, developers, they created the code and now there will be a code review movie, right? And now you can see something like branch of dev 1, branch of dev 2, and branch of dev 3. And you can see GitHub as here. Now let me tell you something. Their code review meeting is not a code review meeting. For each developer, there will be a code review meeting. Now let's say um, after they have created the codes, they will upload them in a cloud. This is a web-based storage. It is a cloud. A cloud is a web-based storage. Cloud, 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 based storage. So for more find example, just Facebook is also cloud. We take pictures, we upload our pictures, right? We can see our shared pictures as well. We can comment, we can tag people, we can have reactions. This is a cloud. Google Drive is a cloud. GitHub is a cloud. Right? And it's important to understand something. So, the code will be uploaded in the cloud. For this case, developers will upload it in the GitHub. In the GitHub. So say this is a GitHub, so this is the code. So let me put create clouds into this element. So these are five. And then dev have uploaded it in the cloud, but where did we upload them? Branch of dev one, branch of dev two. So developers to say this is GitHub, it's the platform, and in this platform he has his own personal account, which is in IT language is called branch. So he's going to upload his codes in this branch, okay? And then each developers will do the same thing. Each dev has their own profile or branch where they will upload their codes. And now code review. Reviewed by dev team and technical lead. Alright, so happens in Python. Let me break it down. So after he has uploaded the code in his branch, he will tag. He will tag. Or well, in IT language, we call it pull request. Okay? Pull request. Okay. So he will tag the technical lead. Technical lead. Who is the technical lead? Who is technical lead? The manager or the top who handles the complete dev team. He is called technical lead. And so the developer one have tagged the technical lead. Now, the technical lead will check if the codes are fine and without some code. Sorry. So, say this is Angular. This is the tool for creating the codes. So that in this part, these are codes. In this part, this is uh, the user interface. What is the user interface? You know, in Angular, so you will put down the code. So okay, the URL is still ready, but the course that he is making for everything that is making for in this done user interface, everything will be shown. Okay. He has created the use for this sheet. And in this done user interface, it will be shown right? And I was saying that the technical lead will review the code. Okay? So, technical lead has reviewed the code and he has saw that all the codes are perfect and everything is matching. As you can see in the demo view, you don't just get everything is perfectly aligned with this code. Everything shows the exact outcomes or exact results of the code. So now we need to show that it is perfect to view it and create accept it. Okay? And this is a proof. This is a proof. Say its name is master. What happens in master? All the developers' code will be here, unless the technical finds some mistakes in their code. But if all of them are perfectly fine, defined and all of them are perfectly created according to the user stories. Also, it make the success criteria as well. So, in this master group, the technical lead for Dev 1, Dev 2, and Dev 3, master branch. Each of their code will be in C. Okay? And what happened? Happened integrated. So, the is not because so okay, because master often this block. This block, all the developers want their code to be planned. So, but without taking them with tries to take them off the stroller and have all the best classification stuff. Classifications in language classification language and also the important stuff. So, for the Delhi, the code has been verified and reviewed by the classifications and not always first, because when look, and then now we will do the first once when they're trying to put down both of each other's food, so they say that they are not matching. This content, which is actually the content is another point to try to integrate both of the tools or the start and the stuff. Something in the wrong, such as the user is actually which is transformation. You know, understand that these two are not necessarily that we can teach for you. All of it is nothing like there will be a experience sensible that things happening. And after we get the right three right things, so after we do it, we will work. Yes, so we will fit everything right. The time is not finished with it. And they already have finished there. Really testing first time tested by themselves, so this is called unit testing. Now that things are integrated on well, that is what is the integration testing. These are for the examples. After everything has been finished in development process, students and work, I think you have this provided to us, you start over, and you can start over. Yeah, what happens after we have the principles of farmers test in food scientists? Now, people will be so with the vegetables and walking. This part is not to be like including the flour. There are many things on here. But all many forms of performance is just and what is this deployment process? It's an important part. So let me tell you something. So the developer one, the dev two, and dev three, all of their codes have been integrated. And now let me say an important thing that GitHub is a cloud. Um, when we, write something or when we try something or when we install something in our cloud, it automatically becomes a link. But we do not see any uh, actual interface of any actual URL, like say this part, this master folder, this is a master folder, okay, that's it, master, master branch. This one has its own link right here, GitHub, GitHub, click. So let's say this is the link, and this is a link, that link. And everything that will be in this GitHub part, uh, all the links that will be in this GitHub, yeah, it is not yet deployed. It is not yet deployed or implemented. originated into an original URL that we can use as just like in our browser. So when we click onto a link, it shows us, it takes us in what pages we want. So, but in GitHub, not with it, everything is a bullet here. So, usually is a post directly and all of it is included. And when you upload into GitHub, we call it repository. And another person who this responsibilities to that. That person will be responsible to generate our repositories. His name is DevOps. DevOps. He is an important person in his job. His responsibilities are also important. So what happens is the master version. The technical lead has seen that the developer's codes are perfect. These are well reviewed and not reviewed. Send this repo link to the DevOps. Okay? Technical lead will send the link to DevOps. Now, DevOps will use a software, okay, to generate the links further. So this software is called software is called so this is the software. The software that the DevOps uses is called now, developer. These are some functions in the sentence. This function is link. Therefore, the link that we have got from the technical guidance. So then I will put it on. Then you will create the perfect URL before you build trigger. Let me say it visually, you can say what is going to do. So, where that URL to perfectly work on. So the URL to make it testable. We will do that. Start with sugar. URL generate from 23 net. I def because it will be easy to understand it. All the term members to know this part for you. Getting that. All right. Now, as soon as you click this green trigger, the URL, will be generated in 10 minutes. Till now, it was being referred, it was a referee, but now it's perfect URL, and now she will deploy. Mhm. So we have a perfect URL because wherever we going to deploy it in this environment in this development. First one is our workstation. Then we have our login page. And that's how each part will be created. So as soon as he deploys the URL, you know, this URL will be given to all the team members. It will be emailed to all the team members by Scrum Master, and the testers will immediately start testing. They say we have created the URL, so this is the URL that DevOps has deployed, and now testers will test. Tester 1 will test this part, tester 2 will test this part, and tester 3 will test the front up or the top part. Okay? And after that, we have our testing part test. So testers will each do the things. So this is for our sprint 1. Once we are done with sprint 1, sprint 2 is sprint 3. This will be worked on. We're not done with the sprint. But we know that in one sprint means 2 weeks. With 2 weeks, we are normally 2 weeks. We have to cover our 300 students, and sprint can really cover our more user students. Right? So, but it happens after the deployment. After the deployment, what happens? The testing process starts. For our next classes, we will learn by listing technology. So let me break it down in short. We have learned a lot of terminologies in our pre-finance sessions, speed learning, on that, and we have learned what happens in our sprint. We have learned what happens in GitHub, and developers, each developer's page, each code for their user stories, and then technical lead will review them, and technical lead will put them in the master folder. It will be in our repository link, because it is in a cloud, and everything that we installed in a file, it will be automatically generating that heading, which is not official yet. This, the DevOps will do that part. After successfully and verified the part, it will be sent this link to DevOps, and DevOps will to his job in the software, which is called Jenkins. In this Jenkins, he will put down the link, and he will generate the link, and then he will trigger. Why would the trigger? The URL for our sprint one we created, and we send to everyone so that testers and our members can see. But that was all. And from our last classes, we will learn that we will continue with our testing. That's